Welcome back to another episode of the 1216 Podcast Manga Section Edition. We have been on break for One Piece for a while, and we still have a few weeks out, well, about a week and a half out until the next chapter drops. But as of right now, we are on 11:30. Shout out to my boy Shano. You know what it is, 11:30, you know how it's going on, Clay Curry shit. But to get right into it, it's the Accursed Prince. And this prince right here, ooh-wee, but I tell you, when we figure out the name at the very end of this chapter, just know we're in for some shit. And I think I may know what that devil fruit might just be. But to get right into it, we have the cover art where we have, of course, Yamato laid out with the only child and the only children up there after the harvest. And we have a legendary sword, which just got nabbed while they were sleeping. So Yamato is going to wake up assuming soon and hopefully find his sword to get it back because it's a legendary blade. All right, my gore of tea. Let's kick it right off. We have the Straw Hat crew and the Elbaf giants that are still on sea, that we're looking for Luffy and the rest of the crew that he's with in Elbaf right now, calling off the search. The search has to stop now. There's no point for us to continue going on with the search because we know that they're safe and they're okay, and we know that they're going to meet us at Elbaf, which is what Frankie started saying and told them. Frankie, Robin, Jinbei, and Brooke all on the same accord. Let's head to Elbaf, and we know that we're going to meet them there. And of course, the giant pirates look on at the crew and just simply says, all right, to Elbaf we go. But in Elbaf, we know that we just had that mini gun, that mini Gear 4, which by all means makes me believe that Luffy now has access to his full potential over his gears 2 through 4, I would say, for the most part, because now that he can actually just accurately put one part of his body inside there without having the full side effects done to him is going a long way. So I wonder if Luffy could turn into a Gear 5 giant without it'd be interesting. Some thoughts popped inside my head, but we'll get back to them one day. But to keep going, Luffy finally outside. Him, Nami, Usopp, Zoro, and Sanji are all outside. Of course, the East Blue members. And they're looking on at this long road that they have to take that leads up into a mountain. And we know it's cold out there, but this bridge is going far. So the crew takes off. They go down a bridge because they have to leave where they're currently at in order to get to the tree. But as they're going across that bridge, we look across it and we see some people that are actually going through before we could get to it. And we have a Droden, of course, being weird onto the crew. And we know that these two people are walking up talking about him. And remember, Herdroden is the person that was just kidnapping them, the fake sun god that was inside the sail that they just escaped from. So we have the Cook Goldberg of the New Giant Pirates, and of course the Doctor, both walking along right now, and they have an owl on their arm. As they're walking through so far, though, through Elbaf, they're just having a typical conversation just about what's going on, how the crew is, what their future plans are. And then they get to talking about how they saw Piper carrying a boat inside of his mouth, which was of course the Thousand Sunny that had Luffy and the crew with him to the island and dropping them off. So of course all intruders should be taken care of, but that's not the case. The crew, of course, is now hiding behind this giant tree and they're looking behind, trying to see what's going on with everything. And as Luffy steps out, we all know in Luffy fashion, Luffy steps out and he tries to talk to them. Hey guys, and he pulls them back in, of course. Nami pulls his mouth closed and simply states, Usopp goes, did you hear that? People, they said the name Elbaf. We gotta be here. So yes, we are officially in Elbaf. Now that we officially understand it and know it, We had the giants that were walking past talking about Ja Rule and, Chief Ja Rule and how he was doing things. It's Ja, baby. Um, Most of you won't get that reference at all. But talking about that Ja Rule stuff going through where Elbaf and of course Sanji is losing his mind because this doctor is a beautiful woman, giant beautiful woman, and the giants turn around and try to see what the heck was that noise, but they see nothing and continue going because they think that they're imagining things. Now Luffy and the gang are all crossing this giant bridge. We have giant wolves down low that are running, waiting for them to fall down. This size of the bridge is massive. But then Luffy hears something. He hears something way down in the bottom of it. And of course, Sanji and Zoro both have the same exact thing, thought process. Well, not Sanji so much, but Zoro is looking on at Luffy and he's like, well, if you're going, then I'm going. And of course, Sanji is going to hold back Zoro because he doesn't want Zoro to do anything stupid as well. He's already like, hey, you're already encouraging this shit, this shenanigans that Luffy is doing. You can't portray them and act inside the same way that he's doing. Stay back here and just wait. But of course, Luffy is going to go towards the sound of the roaring that he heard, and he hops off the bridge and tells the guys, keep going across, I'll catch up with you all. And as he gets down there, the brave Usopp is all ready to go across the bridge. He's not trying to follow him at all. And as they keep going across the bridge, we get a cutaway scene because we're almost finished up with the wit. And the cutaway scene goes back right to it that says, breaking news. We attacked Egghead. What? Yes, the giants came through and attacked Egghead, which led to them getting new wanted posters put out for them. Now, they can't see anything because it's so tiny, but Robin starts reading it and says the giant crew has returned after a century of slumber with Emperor Straw Hat Luffy. They set sails to the sea around Egghead aflame. And since they set these aflame, you know for a fact that they think that the giant pirates and the Straw Hat crew work together to destroy Egghead Island, which isn't the case. If we all know it, looking from our point of view, we know that's not the case. But the berries read out their bounty posters are both 1.8 billion berries. Whoo! Dory and Bragi look on. I didn't think we were back in action, but of course, you guys both are. You were both at 100 million berries back in the day. So from 100 million berries to 1.8 billion, that's a huge jump. A lot of change, the value of currency over these past 100 years. And it seems appropriate for the Elbaf warrior chief. Oh, this is what we have to deal with now. Meanwhile, Captain Luffy is a culprit who murdered Vegapunk. And this is what they're sticking to. This is what's been written up right now by Big News Morgan and put out there inside the news. Another masterclass of lies. Of course, we all know it's full of lies. They have to get out there and put out whatever the world government wants to put out. So they're going from there. And we all remember that Lilith is a part of the crew now and says, so he killed me, did he? Question mark. And we all know Cyborg Frankie is looking on, oh, shut up. You know he did. He was protecting you till the end. We all know what happened. Luffy was protecting Vegapunk until the very end, the actual Apple Pop Grandpa. But let's get back to it, because as they look closer at this picture that they have inside there, it's a marking of Luffy. And of course, they talk about the white hair that Luffy has, saying, where did this photo come from? What is this photo? And inside that photo, it's Luffy in his most free form, but there's a mark on his arm that's an X. And that X only makes sense for one thing. If you go way back to the Alabasta arc, when they put those hands inside the air with the X up on it, it's because they know that they're friends. The X is there, and it's strange detail to focus on. But Robin knows that looks very familiar. Brooke, Jinbei, and Frankie would not know that, but Robin knows because she was there at the time as Miss All Sunday. So it made a little bit of sense. She wasn't quite sure what it was just yet, but the other 5 members of the crew, they all know what it is, which is why they have not seen this yet. Now, Dory and Bragi are all looking on still, and they're saying it's amazing that Straw Hat is considered equals with Red Hair Shanks now as one of the Emperors of the Sea. At that young name, and remember, they started to remember how Herodin was on the crew. Herodin, of course, the one that was locked up. That didn't want to follow them only because they were set to follow and join forces with somebody else. Herodin didn't want that to happen at all. As you remember a few chapters ago, his biggest thing was, no, I want to follow you guys, nobody else. But Herodin, of course, he is the son of a king as well, which means he's a temperature brat. And all he ever wanted was to just follow them, Dory and Bragi. And from that point on, this is why he got into so much trouble that he got into. We know that the next time that Loki, the accursed prince, is unleashed, the world will be brought to ruins. And of course, it's going to start with Elbaf. So we have this prince who is another, I would say, king's son that is after this fruit, this legendary devil fruit that was passed down through generation after generation after generation. Because he wanted this fruit so bad, Loki wanted this fruit very, very bad, that he went through the need to get rid of his father, the king himself, and eat the devil fruit. All because he wanted that fruit so bad to just be his. And as we see, Robin figures out and hears this stuff going through, that they're hearing the story from the giant pirates. Our boy Luffy finally lands on the ground. So we jump back to him. And of course, the person that Luffy is in front of asks him to state his name. And if we all know Luffy, somebody asks you to state your name, he's going to say, I'm Monkey D. Luffy, the man who's going to be king of the pirates. He said, king, huh? Where am I and who are you? Is the question that Luffy proposed to this giant figure that's chained up against this giant tree bark. That, well, one, you're on Warland of Elbaf, the kingdom of warriors, the most powerful nation in the world, which lives in the breath of warfare. And everything is shaking around as he's saying that. And he simply says next, I am the sun god who brings the world to an end. My name is Loki. And the chapter ends right there. So we know that Loki now tied up this prince who killed his father because he wanted this devil fruit, even though it was going to be passed down through generation to generation to generation. He killed his father, is chained up at the bottom of this giant tree, and is just sitting there. Now introduced to him with Luffy, the actual sun god, the person who ate the Nika Nika no Mi model sun god. The human fruit is now looking at Loki, who most likely has a trickster devil fruit. This should be interesting going forward, because now we know that the Elbaf warriors are all heading towards Elbaf. But the details that we missed out inside here, of course, go back to Alabasta with the X on the arm. Why is this even a thing? Did the X pop up there before when he's inside that form? And of course, how would the crew, the initial crew, react to seeing that? Chopper, Luffy, Chopper, Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, and Nami, and Usopp. How would they react after seeing this picture of Luffy with that X engraved upon him? Because they all know what that means. Also, does that mean that the next chapter we're going to get something with Vivi most likely? We all know that Imu is out for Vivi's head. So, will we be getting something with Vivi brought back into it? Does Vivi have the will of Imu? Does Vivi's presence alone have this much potential to be a threat that they're putting a markup on there to give us a hint that this is what's coming up next. I'm very excited to see what happens next. This is, of course, another banger with the 1216 podcast manga section edition. Please make sure you hit that like button, comment, subscribe. It goes a long way. Even if you just leave, some type of emoji down there, it goes a very long way. We want to interact with you guys a lot more, but there's more to come. There's more to come. This is 12 officially signing off, and I will see you next time.